It is Friday, the 19th of September, 2025. We're looking at the waning crescent moon with Venus in very close proximity below it to the right. And then further below and to the right, down near the bottom there, is Regulus, the star Regulus. So essentially three celestial objects, the moon, Venus, and Regulus, a star. So we have a satellite, a planet, and a star, all in one shot. It's about 6 in the morning now, I think. 5:56. Yeah, I wasn't too far off. If I had wanted to get these three objects aligned with a building low on the horizon, I probably would have had to be up at around 4 in the morning or even earlier just to get in place, and I just wasn't that ambitious. I needed to get sleep, so much for that. I mean, obviously you can fake it. I could Photoshop this into a photo of a landscape. I tend not to do that kind of thing. I try to get straight, unmanipulated images. But you never know. It wouldn't hurt to do that from an artistic perspective, especially if you disclose, well, this is a composite image, because I was too lazy to get up at 3:30 in the morning. So anyhow, I just adjusted the angle there a bit. We're shooting video to keep vibration down. When you're using a very powerful telephoto lens and slow shutter speeds, and you don't have an electronic shutter, you have a mechanical shutter, it gets problematic in terms of vibration. So shooting video essentially tends to get rid of vibration as much as you can. There's still the wind vibration issue, and there is a bit of a breeze. But generally speaking, it eliminates vibration from manipulating the camera and the shutter going and so on and so forth. So let's see, I'm going to once again reframe a bit. I'm going to raise the camera a bit so the moon's not so near the top of the frame. And I think I will adjust the ISO lower. It is currently at 8,000. I think I will bring it down to, well, let's go to 64 for starters, just a third of a stop down. In terms of what I'm seeing on the screen, the sky is a bit brighter than what I'm actually seeing, but on the other hand, I find that my screen, especially in low light situations, is fooling me, and that it'll actually be darker. The actual video will be darker than what I'm seeing on the screen. There goes a police car with a flashes on. So yeah, I've tried to calibrate things, and it just hasn't worked out, to get it so that what I see on the screen is what ends up in the actual video in low light situations. So I don't want to go too much lower than I am now. This is pretty close to what I'm seeing now. We got a deep blue sky, crescent moon, Venus Regulus there. I can't see quite as well. I can't see any detail on the surface of the moon, but that might be because my eyesight's just not that great anymore. Especially things in distance. I'm not wearing glasses. If I had some glasses on, it might be better. But just in terms of the size of the moon and everything, it might be difficult to see. I mean, obviously you can see it in day. Well, you can see it when the moon is full. I can see the battery and so on. So I'm not sure how much I would see if I had glasses on right now. I'm just gonna we're essentially what we're doing here is we're just shooting what's called B-roll. I'm just gonna do one longish clip, and then be able to pull from this if I want some still frames. And we'll just put this up on YouTube so people can see the 3 objects there. But I don't want it to be too long. We're already heading towards 6 minutes. We passed 5 minutes of, in quotation marks, filming here. Maybe I'll do a couple more shorter clips at different ISO settings. See what that gives me. But right now we're just, excuse me, experimenting, as it were. But I'm looking around. Is there anything else interesting in the sky? Didn't check for the International Space Station if it's passing over or not. So now, again, what I'm seeing on the screen is quite a bit brighter than what I'm seeing with the ISO. I'm actually going to lower the ISO a bit, go down to 5,000 ISO. By the way, we're at f9, 600 millimeters, if I hadn't mentioned that. We're using 150 to 600 millimeter Sigma contemporary zoom, which I acquired earlier this year at a quite reasonable price. So f9 is a little bit down from the maximum aperture, which is f6.3 when it's 600 millimeters. Just to increase the optical quality a bit. And 25th of a second, that's as low as I can go when I'm shooting video. Can't go lower shutter speed than that. And again, 5,000 ISO, which again, I think I'm going to reduce it. As I said, I did want to wait for the sky to get brighter, and it is significantly brighter than it was. It's interesting. I still see earlier I saw this aircraft contrail off to the left, and it's still there in pretty much the same place. It's looking a little pink now. There are no clouds in the sky. It's pretty well a totally clear. Oh, there's some clouds low on the horizon behind me to the south and west. But other than that, yeah, there's hardly a cloud in the sky. Totally clear sky at the moment. Oh, the moon's going out of frame because I was looking behind me and I didn't notice what was going on here. But we can see the sky is getting brighter even as the camera's running. So I'm going to go down to 3200 ISO. At 3200 ISO, what I'm seeing on the screen is very, very close to what I'm seeing in the sky. A deepish blue sky with the crescent moon and Venus and Regulus. Got some fire trucks going by now. So a police car went zooming by a few minutes ago. Now we got a fire truck. I think I heard another one. I think it might have went by without me seeing it because I wasn't paying attention. I was looking at the video. Okay, what do we want to do here? Do we want to change the exposure? A bit of wind here, so we might have some vibration. I think I'm just going to let this run, to be honest. I might do a couple of short clips a little bit later, but I think for now I don't want to disturb things too much. We're just going to let the moon and Venus and Regulus, if we could still see Regulus, that is, rise up. I think it's there, but it's quite faint now. So we got the moon and Venus anyway. I suppose what I could do, I could put a teleconverter on to zoom in closer now, just on the moon and Venus. That's an idea. I don't know if it's worth the effort, but let's just raise the camera a bit. Oh yeah, there's Regulus. I see it now. We'll just raise the camera here. And we'll go down a bit more, 2500 ISO. You know, it is literally brightening as the video progresses. So this will allow me to, if I decide to do so, you know, pull a few stills at different sky brightness levels. But we're starting to lose the detail in the shadow because it's the range of the exposure. You could see more when it was darker and I exposed more for the shadow. Now we're getting toward exposing to the highlights more. As anyway, you can still see Regulus there on the screen down at the right, about 2/3 the way across the frame. Venus close to the moon. There's nothing else to see there. In fact, there are a few other stars in the sky, but they're a good distance away. I mean, there's obviously a lot more. There's stars right there. We just can't see them because it's, you know, too bright now. But even earlier, you know, with light pollution and everything, you couldn't really see a whole lot of stars. Okay, there goes our 90 bus. And what to do? Just debating now if I should shoot some stills. Let's do that. Get the moon off to the left a bit. Venus in the middle. But again, it is definitely brightening. I think I'm just going to keep letting this run. I had thought of doing some still clips, but I don't see the point. You know, I think I could pull, sorry, not still clips, short clips. I can pull some short clips out of this. I'm just going to let this run. I'll put the full, I'm going to bring the ISO down to 2000 now. So we just dropped it down to 2000. Could even go a bit lower, but I don't want to overdo it. Because as I said, it tends to be darker, the actual video, than when I'm seeing the screen. I'm just going to raise the camera a bit so we get the... There we go. And we're just going to let the moon rise up through the frame. We got a 7.5 minutes of recording time left here on the 20-minute clip. So I think I'm going to do a full 20-minute clip. So yeah, so the Venus is slightly to the right of center. The moon is a bit left of center. Regulus is down there at the bottom. And we're just going to let the moon rise up through the frame here. I'm just debating if I want to adjust the ISO. Right now we're at 2000th of sorry, ISO 2000, yeah. And it's starting to look a little bright, pale. But then again, so is the sky. It's getting brighter and brighter. This is actually pretty close to what I'm seeing with the unaided eye. But nevertheless, I think wouldn't hurt to go a little bit darker. But as we do, we're going to see less and less shadow detail in the moon. But yeah, if I had been more ambitious, I could have dragged myself out of bed at 3:30 in the morning, taken a taxi out to old Montreal, to the old port, to get, an aircraft, but it's going to be out of the frame. But if it had been a bit lower, you might have had an aircraft fly right through the scene here. Let's see now, nothing else really happening. I'm just going to adjust the ISO down. So now we're at 1600 ISO. I'm just going to reframe a little here. Just put the moon off to the little bit left of center. Put Venus, okay, I will let that rise up through the frame. So the moon will be centered in a little while. Maybe a bit off kilter here because Regulus is a bit too close to the bottom. We don't want that so much. Let's see. We have 5 minutes of recording time left here. This is a bit better with Venus not so, Regulus not so close to the bottom. We'll let this alone for a bit. But yeah, the sky's getting brighter and brighter. We're losing the ability to see any detail in the shadow. Should I adjust the exposure? I'm even thinking at this point I might be able to take a half decent still, but let's see. For the time being, we're gonna just shoot video. We're just gonna let this run out, 20-minute clip. We're gonna just go down a little lower. So we're now at 1250 ISO. So not quite as noisy and grainy and so on. I guess we can, because Regulus is getting up there a bit, so let's just adjust a bit. I don't have one of these tracking mounts, just a regular tripod. I can even pan a little to the right here to get the moon off to the left a bit, and Venus sort of right in the center. Yeah, that looks pretty good. At some point, we're probably not going to be able to see Regulus, but it's hanging in there, or it has been hanging in there. Yeah, 3.5 minutes of recording time left. Just going to let it run. And yeah, I might just do a couple of stills in a few minutes. But yeah, it's getting to a point where we're just going to see a crescent and Venus, and Regulus is going to just disappear into the brighter sky if it hasn't already. I think I will again decrease. So now we're going down to 1000 ISO. It might be a little darker than what I'm actually seeing. It's definitely quite a bit brighter sky now. Sunrise, I think it's around 6:30 these days, 6:13 now, so it's probably still below the horizon. But yeah, it's coming up over the horizon soon. The sun will be, now that I think about it, I could theoretically get a shot with the sun and the moon and Venus, not Regulus. Regulus will not be visible. But if I got to a vantage point where I could see the sun on the horizon, I could have that. However, there would be quite a distance between the sun and the moon and Venus. It's almost a full hand span above the horizon now. Yeah, it looks like we might have lost Regulus. Oh no, it's still there. I see it. I thought Regulus the sky might have just been too bright to see Regulus, but no, it's still there. Got a little over a minute of recording time left. Should I, you know what, I thought about going a little tiny bit darker. I don't think I will. So you can just faintly still see Regulus there. We got less than a minute recording time left. What do I want to do here? Let's see. I think I will go a little tiny bit darker for the last 30 seconds. So now we're 800 ISO. So we started out at 12,800 ISO. And now we're down at 800 ISO. So that's quite a difference. 20 seconds left. So I think, yeah, I'll try a couple of stills. I might do a little bit more video shortly, but this is it for now. The 20-minute clip